Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cat and Sam Show. I am Cat,
I am Sam.
and I am Cat. I'm from the U.S., the United States, in Colorado. I live in Colorado, and my lovely bestie over there lives in the UK. And so, what is our topic today, Sam?
Well, there's quite a lot been happening in the UK and some other places in the world. I mean, we've got obviously the international things. We've got International Women's Day on Friday the
That's right.
8th of March, and that's it's quite an interesting one this year because it's about investing in women, and part of that investment is about stopping them being abused. Invest in the prevention of abuse of women and children. So that's quite interesting. So it's really busy from that point of view. There's just loads of events and everything's happening all over the place. But the other thing that was really interesting that's happened today is Queensland in Australia. Now, they've got similar laws to us in the UK, but they have just said that they've just approved, and they're going to have a law against coercive and controlling behaviour. Now, what's really fascinating about that is we're in 2024. In the UK, we got our coercive and controlling behaviour law in 2015. So the tariff, the highest tariff you can have for that over here at the moment is 5 years. In Australia, they're going to make it 14 years. So that's triple the amount of time. And I think what's really interesting is in this last nearly 10 years, it'll be 10 years next year that in the UK we've had this law, the understanding around coercive control being at the heart of abuse and actually how utterly devastating and damaging it is to individuals and society as a whole, obviously seems to have picked up pace. And I'll be really interested to see what the details are of what they say constitutes coercive control in Australia. And it'd be interesting to see if the UK maybe updates our law to an equivalent. 14 years really does indicate how seriously they take it as opposed to our 5-year tariff, which isn't very high really. But the other thing is our sort of leading UK police chief, Sir Mark Rowley, he's the chief of the Met Police in London, and he's actually come out and said that the funding for violence against women and girls should be at the same level as we have for terrorism and serious crime, but also that the treatment of it should be the same as terrorism and serious crime, that we need to take it as seriously. And the harm and the damage that it does is of an equivalent. So it's just really interesting how these markers that things are actually moving forwards. When I think about sort of even just 2, 3, 4 years ago, you say coercive control to somebody, or you talk about domestic abuse, and it would just be blank. So I'm feeling sort of quite buoyed today by some of the news. I mean, I know it's there's talk and then there's action. Actions need to be taken. But I do think about in the US, the more this is happening around the world, Brazil are really leading the way as well. Then hopefully, it spreads further and further afield. What do you think?
Well, a couple things come to mind. In if you talk to a survivor or you talk to somebody who's been through this kind of um, relationship or is still in this kind of relationship that's controlling, coercively controlling. Um, what I think you find is somebody that always says, I wish I would have gotten hit because I could have seen it for what it was instead of how damaging it is to something we can't see, which is the brain and the physicalities of the body in response to being under uh, such abuse and violence. Then you come into the biases of people, and I'm so glad that the UK came out and went after coercive controlling behavior as something that legally needed to be approached. It's just that when they did, it exploded and has been kind of a bomb in some of our discussions about how you guys did it. And then I think you said Scotland has done it even better. And then you've got now the Australia doing it any better. And I think about the biases that are in the world um, all over for different reasons. Like, people are always just like, you've got to leave. And they have no understanding of somebody in Kenya who has nowhere to go. They don't even have a program. And what information do you give them? And then you have, like, somebody in, I don't know, Colombia or another country who they may have the laws, but those laws still aren't developed enough. They don't have like coercing and controlling laws. They may have abuse laws. Um, and then you come into the United States and like Colorado, we just passed coercive and controlling behavior laws that can be attached to fraud and based on domestic violence. So it is changing. Yeah, which is changing, but it's still going to be that process. And like you said, 2 or 3 years ago, I mean, we've actually been working with each other for over a year and a half now, and we talked about how we have to come out of these. I don't know where it's going to go, but we've talked about the fact that nobody's talking about it. And now there's this big explosion where everybody's talking about it, which is great. It's great to see over the
And
years,
I
right?
think that's why I thought I'd say it today, because we've had the law since 2015, but actually it's just sat there. Nobody's done anything with it. Nobody's, the cases were minimal. 96% of all reported cases failed to even get a charge. So, it's about that walking the walk as well as talking the talk. We can have all the laws that you want, but actually it's the implementing and the understanding of them. And that's what seems to be, to me, really starting to get through. And the more like you and I or people like us just keep talking about it, just keep normalizing the fact that this happens, and that actually there was something that came to my mind today. So Northumbria University, the Love Project is going really well in the UK, and Northumbria University had an event as part of their equality, diversity, and inclusion. They have various events every month. And it was just something that came to my mind whilst we were having this event, which is I think there really is starting to be a shift in the shame of domestic abuse, really, really starting to belong to the perpetrators. It was never ours. It was never the victims, but it was foisted on us, and it's their shame. And I think that's really, I feel like that's really starting to shift now. I hope so. And we'll just keep talking about it until it does, I suppose, won't we, Kat?
That's exactly what we'll do. I mean, there's a post that went up today that's speaking exactly on what you're talking about. It says, give a little to take a lot. The Narcissist Creed by Sam Vaknin. They give a little to take a lot is the Narcissist Creed. And, I do think that the perpetrator is starting to be seen for what they are. I'll add to your International Women's Day day of March 8th with words from their website, which are: imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world that's a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together, we can forge women's equality. Collectively, we can all inspire inclusion. And I think, in that statement, it is not saying that men don't matter. And I think that's important. This is a global problem. We're raising children in it. And I'm glad to see, coercive control is, there's so many words for it. I'm sorry. I'm glad to see coercive control taking a step into that as kind of a normal way of talking about it, because I feel like there's so much to that people don't seem to understand, because it is a huge problem. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's mental, it's physical, financial, spiritual. Yeah, and people, it's so funny because people, and it, and I'll leave you with this too as well. This thought process. See what you think about this. I read this not too long ago, and I've kind of been working on it, which is, people can't understand something until they've hit the when it's important to them, or when they take that information in. So when is it going to be? When are we going to start valuing,
love?
Exactly.
In its broadest sense.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Love heals. It doesn't hurt. No. It says, I love you no matter what.
And I love you too.
So on that note, welcome to the news.
Welcome to the news. Absolutely.
And let's keep pushing for that coercive control laws. Maybe we can get it federally. That would be nice. And it'll come.
Absolutely. We'll just keep going.
Way. Yep.
Absolutely. All right then, my darling. Take care. See you next time, and I look forward to it.
All right. hit that bell. Uh,
Hit the
make a
leave a
make a
comment.
comment. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.